Yeah. That was that one pistol kill I had. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. I wish you'd tell me how much time I had left. I better know.
All right, guys. Hey, we're about to get started. How's it going?
It's going, brother.
It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you.
This man, look, before we get started, this man made me soul drink. Something you guys have been trying to get me to do on Street for that he made me soul drink.
We got him dancing. It's cool.
I've been trying to buy the tape off him. He ain't selling.
No. I tell you what, though, if your viewers want to, the bid's currently what, $100? $100, they can have the tape of you dancing. $150, and I'll post it on YouTube for the general public. And we'll get you in a lot of trouble. Get me in a lot of trouble.
Just too much comedy. We're
the LAN party. It's supposed to be fun.
I had a great time.
We're here to game. We're here to be nuts. We're here to be crazy. We're PC gamers. Let's have fun.
My wife would definitely want that. It'd be a bargaining.
Remember, $150. I'll give it to the world. $100, and she can have it. And we'll edit it so it's more visible.
Oh, good God. That's the last thing I need.
We're going to zoom it in, and we'll do special effects. We'll add stuff to it, man. We'll make it incredible.
Oh, so horrible. So what have you got for us today?
Yeah. I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
Have you been having fun?
Oh, I have fun everywhere I go. That's the whole point of it.
What I really want to know is, tell us about that setup that you got over.
Okay, well, what we've got is, and I invite all your viewers should go to the Sapphire webpage on Facebook. And at the top, there's a thing that says NFC. That's the name of the company that the guy runs that made the build for us. It means not from concentrate. And what we had Josh do was, Josh doesn't make mods. Right. Josh builds works of art. And if you folks see this PC, and when you see it in the video, you'll understand what I mean. This is just this amazing showpiece that is just, it's a single processor, 8 gigs of RAM, a 240 gig SSD, and a 290X for video. But this is sculpted wood and aluminum and acrylic, and you look at this and go, wow, I can't believe that's a computer. And it's a decent little gaming ring, right out of the box, the way it's built.
Nice.
So I get to use it for the next year, and then it's going to go on my shelf, kind of like a trophy.
Oh, they're going to let you keep it?
I get to keep this.
Oh, nice.
When we discussed giving it away, the problem was the Josh, the guy that built it, told me, he said, if you give it away, we've got to be careful. He said, I don't want this dismantled. I don't want this stripped for parts, or somebody tried to upgrade it that doesn't know what they're doing.
Right.
I want this, because this is a work of love and of art, and he said, I want this to stay the way it is. So we talked about it. And in a giveaway, you can't be sure what somebody's going to do when you give it.
Right.
So there's some risk there. And Sapphire doesn't have a proper office.
Right.
Yeah,
so many of us work out of our homes, and the main office is in Hong Kong, but even then, it's not what you would consider a proper corporate office.
Right.
So we work out of our homes, and it was decided that since I probably appreciate this more than anyone else in the company, it stays with me.
Nice.
So I get to keep it. Besides that, I told them I'm bigger than all of them, and they can't have it. And if you've seen me, I'm almost as big as he is.
Fox on there just said starting Kickstarter to raise them. You don't understand this dance thing that they've been trying to
get. My partner Doug, come around here, stick your face just in the camera for a minute. Okay, Doug, we are up to, they're trying to raise $100 to give me and you to get the video of them dancing. Will we sell it for $100?
Not a problem. Now I'll warn you, it's dark. It's going to take some editing.
We'll get it done.
But you know what? If they've got enough wherewithal to come up with the money, they can figure out how to edit it and lighten it up a little bit.
There you go. They'll pay for me and you a nice dinner out one night.
That's
We're
tough.
running
Oh,
around
yeah.
on this.
That is so.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I may have a side revenue here. Blackmail video at every LAN event.
This is why I get somebody to ask me the other day because we just did CES. There's you go to Tech Syndicate, and there's the video of me talking to the guys at Tech Syndicate and stuff. And I get goofy, like I'm getting here with you, okay?
Right.
And somebody asked me once, they said, "Why do you do this?" There's a reason why I do this. Believe it or not, there's a preemptive PR reason to do this. Besides the fact it's who I am. He knows, by the way, he's known me since I was 14.
Oh God.
15, 15.
By
We've
the way,
been at
speaking
15.
of blackmail, if anybody is willing to pay for the dirt on Ed, I've got it. I've got it all. I was there when he hit puberty.
Oh
What if his... Tell the story about the driving, because that's the story you tell all the time, is driver's ed.
The ones that can be
With Coach Davis and when I got behind the wheel.
Right, yeah. So, the rest of us were all 16, all pimply face, squeaky voice.
So was I.
We're our first day driver's ed. Ed gets in the car, no seatbelt, throws his arm over the back seat, grabs the wheel at 12 o'clock and starts to take off. Our driver's ed coach, who was also, by the way, the football coach,
Ouch.
is has a high-speed come apart. I won't repeat the words that were said. And it's like, what? I'm driving.
I'm driving. What the hell? So anyway, though, the reason I act goofy is this. First, it's who I am.
Right.
I love to have fun. I'm a PC gamer just like everybody else. I'm a PC enthusiast just like everybody else. I mean, again, Doug will testify to this. I wake up in the morning, I'm on a PC gaming or working. I go to bed at night, I've been gaming or working all day on the PC. Okay, so I really get into this and I want to have fun, but there's a PR reason. And the PR reason is this: when you're going to be the face of a company,
Right.
and God, Sapphire, why you chose this face, I don't know. This is a face for radio. That's why I did
adorable.
radio for
So
20 years.
The brain behind it redeems it.
Anyway, you are
I gotta stand up.
you are sucking up so much. So anyway, this is the other thing that got to be fun about this job. I got to hire part-time help this year because I'm now handling marketing for all of North America besides PR. So the cool part is they knew us from the radio show.
Okay.
So hiring him was the perfect fit
Nice.
because we did this for 7 years of radio together. Where we did the live radio, dude, just like we're doing here. We'll do a show and freak everybody out.
We're
how
like
easy
the
it
Lone
is.
Ranger and Tonto, Bonnie and Clyde,
There you go.
Siskel and
Oh,
Ebert.
no. Back up. I'm Clyde.
Well, okay. I mean, if you want to give me top billing, I don't care.
You can have top billing, but I'm not the girl.
I like to say that I'm the yin to his yang.
He's the steak sauce to my T-bone. There you go. Anyway, though. So, but the reasoning from a PR perspective is this: if you're going to be the face, if you're going to do this, your competition is going to look for you to do something dumb, and you will sooner or later do something dumb. But you see, if I'm doing something dumb all the time,
Right.
everybody's going to say that's just it.
Which is not difficult to do.
It's not.
Right.
So there's a reason for this. There's a reason for this. But it's got to be fun. I mean, if we're not having fun, what's the point of being here?
Right.
So we're gonna have some fun. Your tablet just exploded. I blew up his tablet.
Oh crap.
What could possibly go wrong with all those wires, right?
It's seriously not doing anything.
I think he did die. Stand by.
Is this actually the streamer or is this the streamer?
No, the main rig is a streamer. If push
Okay.
come to shove, we'll pull up the
We are
chat.
on the air.
We'll pull up the chat on the main rig. I'm not sure what just happened with that.
Yeah, that's.
She just
Can it
died.
go to sleep mode?
No, she don't have a. That was the first thing disabled. I think you just said, that's it, Rob. Technical.
We cannot do any more of this show. I have to die now. You're gonna have to pull it up because I want to hear what I want to hear what the people watching.
I'll get them up. I'll get it up.
Well, this is Q&A, baby. Anything you want to ask.
And where you at? There you go.
Here we are. Dude, some of these pictures. You think his dancing is, dude, his selection of media, oh my God. I didn't know midgets could do that.
Oh, God.
You're a terrible, terrible human being. You know that, right?
No, a terrible human being would be, wow, midgets can do that. I didn't know midgets could do that.
Oh, my God.
Is your wife watching?
Luckily for
I hope not.
Luckily for me, I've been operating under an alias since I met him.
We told so many jokes about our lives on the air, and we're like, thank God they don't listen to the show.
Oh, man.
There we are. So fire away with your questions, guys. I want to hear what you guys have. What you guys want to hear us talk about. We'll talk about anything computer gaming related.
Okay.
Maybe a few things not computer gaming related.
Hopefully I don't get in trouble, but we're back. My
We like
tablet just
cigars.
We'll figure out what went wrong with that later. But tell us about your graphic card. Tell us about your company.
Well, okay. Well, Sapphire Technology is it is the premier AMD graphics card manufacturer. Now, unlike everybody else, there's a saying. The saying is, jack of all trades is a master of none.
Right.
At Sapphire, we do one thing for one partner. We make video cards for AMD, which makes us a master at what we do. Now, to give you an idea of the master, okay, you know how everybody in the industry right now uses heat pipes on their video cards?
Right.
You're welcome. Sapphire was the first to do this. You know how everybody uses multiple fans? You're welcome. Sapphire was the first to do this. You know how NVIDIA now is so excited that they have vapor chamber technology on their coolers? You're welcome, NVIDIA. Thank you for copying us because we did it way before anybody else thought about doing it. We've been an innovator when it comes to cooling your video cards. Now, there's a terrible truth that the entire industry doesn't want you to know, all right?
Okay.
And there's a terrible truth that most of you as gamers don't admit to. Performance isn't what you care about. Now, this sounds bad, but let me follow up why this is. You go buy a 290 card. It doesn't matter if you buy it from Sapphire, if you buy it from MSI, if you buy it from Gigabyte, if you buy it from Asus, if you buy it from PowerColor, XFX. Doesn't matter. The raw frames per second that you're going to get on the screen are going to be within a single percentage point of each other. There's not going to be a lot of change because that's a function of the GPU.
Right.
And factory overclocking, let's get real, factory overclocking is a minor overclock at best.
Right.
It doesn't change the gaming experience at all. In fact, there is a rule of thumb that was developed a long time ago when we first started doing benchmarking with computers. It was called the rule of 10. And what the rule of 10 states is if the performance difference is not 10% or higher, you can physically never notice it. And that holds true. That holds true today. You've got to see 10%. And the truth is it's closer to 15% before the significance of the difference becomes noticeable.
Right.
So it's not that big a deal. When you go to buy a video card, most consumers worry about price first. Okay,
Right.
We all worry about price first.
Amen
Good news,
to that.
gas prices are down, video cards are more affordable now because of that, because we have more money to spend, because we're not spending on gas. But second, you want it cool and you want it quiet. These are two areas we've led the industry in for a decade.
Okay.
We understand how to make a video card cool and quiet. And we don't do like our competition does. A lot of companies, and this happened with the 290s. You go back and read the reviews, it's happened a lot. I keep wanting to look at the camera. A lot of companies did this. They got the 290, and what they did was they went to the factory shelves and go, hey, this cooler looks really neat. We've got 3 million of these, slapped it on. And you had companies come out with coolers that didn't fit on the chip correctly, had all sorts of connectivity issues with the way the boards were designed. They just didn't work well.
Right.
They got the job done, but there's a difference between getting the job done and doing it well, okay? You and I can get the job done and do the Boston Marathon. We have legs, our hearts are beating. We can't do it well,
No.
but we can get the job done. And that's the difference. When we went to the 290, the Tri-X solution, which was the first cooler we introduced, we had already begun testing it in a basic design for another chip with the Toxics, the 280X Toxic and the 270X Toxic. First introduced a Tri-X solution for us. We had already begun testing the setup and the design. We took all the feedback. We took everything we found from that. The 290 chip appears, and the first thing we did is take the cooler design, gut it, and rebuild it because it had to fit this chip. It had to be exactly for this chip. The next thing we did is we took all the feedback about the fans. The original Toxics had 2 fans of one size, a third that was smaller. We found that was inefficient.
Right.
So we took that, especially for the 290, we took that off, put 3 fans the same size. Our cooler was designed from the ground up in advance specifically for the 290.
Nice.
So about 6 weeks later, we bring out the Vapor X. Everybody gave us grief. They said, you're behind. Everybody's already got their cards. You're not going to want it. The Vapor X was designed from the ground up, 0.0, specifically for the 290 and the 290X. The vapor chamber was specifically designed. We also added a PCB cooler. By the way, when you see those on the competition's video cards over the next few years, you're welcome. Nobody else has done this yet. We're the first ones to do this.
Right.
We actually took the PCB, if people don't understand, it's the board that the video cards built on. And in the middle of that board are a number of layers of copper. And this is the interconnectivity between all the traces to let everything work.
Right.
We took one layer of that copper, and normally when a board is cut, that is sealed all around. We extended it up about 1 millimeter and then tacked a heat sink onto that copper. And what it's doing is we're pulling heat right out of the middle of the video card and getting rid of it.
Nice.
Nobody else is doing this yet. So this is why we're proud to say we've got the best cooling in the industry. We are one of the premier video card manufacturers. This is why. We actually go forward and try to innovate a design. We try to change the design. And we listen to consumer feedback. I'm going to give you another website, another quick story, then we'll move to the next question. Lan OC. I went to the event, and this is when I first started working for Sapphire. I went to the event, and I was enthralled with all the small form factor cases. Now, Doug continue, I was already excited about small form factor. But to me, it was the bigger, like the Case Labs ITX cases. It was the bigger cases. These guys were building those little lunchbox gaming rigs.
Right.
And I was just enthralled with these. This is amazing. This is so cool. And we got to talking about it, and they had all sorts of problems. They were having to pull side panels off because the solutions that were in them weren't cooling very well. So I went back home, and I got on the phone, on Skype, with my boss in England. And I said, we've got to do this. We've got to build a real ITX video card. There isn't one for AMD yet. Right. So we sat down with our engineers and we started working. And we took all the feedback that I got from these people that had built these cards. And we sat down and we worked with it. And the engineers worked with it. And we had to wait until the right chip came out to do it.
Right.
Introduced the 285 ITX from Sapphire, the first ITX specifically designed video card anyone from AMD. And when it released, before the 970 cards, which, by the way, are hard to find in ITX format, we were, before that, the fastest, coolest, quietest ITX card you could buy.
Nice.
We produced a card that was designed for 1080p gaming at high detail, lets you crank it up in a little bitty case. So Lan OC actually named that card, of all the cards of 2014, their top pick of the year. Because it delivered something no one else in the industry had yet been able to deliver. This is why I tell people, yeah, we may not always be the fastest, but we're the best. There's a old saying that we used it in EVE online all the time.
Right.
I may be outnumbered, I may be outgunned, I am never outclassed.
There you
So
go.
let's get their questions.
First game that you played online.
Online? Technically, the game was called Bugs and Drugs, and this was in 1977. Now, they're going to say, wait a minute, there was no internet. You are correct, there was no internet. What there was a system out of the University of Illinois called Plato, which was a mainframe. And Plato was connected by various lines around the country to 25 or 30 campuses in North America, campuses in Great Britain, South Africa, and Australia, and I think the Philippines.
Okay.
And that was the first computer I ever got introduced to. And that game, Bugs and Drugs, was developed for medical students so that they would wander in a D&D manner. They would wander the hallways of a hospital, and they'd have to fight viruses and bacteria. And they had to learn which antibiotics were best for each one. And so
Wow.
you would have these magic items like, what is it, Archimedes? Was that one of the famous physicians or something?
Yeah.
You know, his staff or something. And you'd have these items. They took this D&D environment, they took an educational program, and they made it fun. And that was the first online game I played because it was designed for multiplayer. So there were other students around the world. We'd team up and go around and clear out this hospital with drugs and bugs.
That is
I've never
amazing.
heard of that.
Look it up. It's there online. It's there
The thing
online.
about it is I was just reading an article in Time about games for medical students like that, and to think that
I played one of the first ones ever created.
Wow.
Dude, I've been doing this 37 years since I played my first ever video game. And 38 years since I played my first gaming game, Dungeons and Dragons.
Before it was advanced Dungeons.
Yeah, there was no
It was
A
still
yet.
in the
There
little
was no.
books. Yeah,
I
there were no
actually,
books.
well, there was books, sort of. My youth pastor, it's amazing to me that most of us got introduced by our youth pastors, and then the church came out and said, D&D is bad. It was so funny.
trust me.
He was from Wisconsin, and we got in his car, and it was a 2-day trip, me and a couple of other boys and him and his wife, and we went to Wisconsin. I met Gary Gygax at his home. I bought the pack set in a Ziploc bag from Gygax out of his garage. Since then, by the way, though, I actually became friends with him. We got to hang out. I worked with him on a number of projects. I was one of the lead demo and testers for the Dangerous Journeys game system for GDW. And so it was really cool to get into it early before anybody else got into this. You get to meet all these great people. I got to meet Ed Greenwood. I got to have lunch. Ed Greenwood bought me lunch, dude. That was cool. So
He still has it actually shrink wrapped in
Oh,
his
good.
dresser drawer with his sock.
what, the lunch?
Yeah. Some things you just don't eat.
It was from McDonald's. It made it be good.
Right, you don't even have to shrink wrap it.
Next up.
Do you still play Eve?
No. Now, let me say why. It is difficult for me to really put the time into an MMO like I would like to. I have so many games I have to play. So not have to play, but want to play.
Right.
So many games that get me excited. So many games that get me going. Doug and I actually played for about a year and a half in Eve together. Eve, there's only one thing I don't like about Eve as a game. Eve as a game is designed to reward griefing. Yeah, you can't say it's not.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
Okay? It's designed to reward grief. It's a quick story. We started a corporation in Eve called Dangerous Journeys. We actually we had a good 20-person crew.
Right.
But when we first started, Infinite Dreams. I'm sorry, not Dangerous Journeys, Infinite Dreams. And we had when we first started, there were about 5 of us who had none of the others had played. I was the only one that had played. And this little 2-man corp war decked us. We're a high sec mining company that was just out doing a little bit of mining. These guys war decked us. So I'm like, okay, look, how much to stop? There's no reason to war deck us. How much to stop?
I have an answer for that. There's a group called Miner Bumpers, and for a low price of 10 mil, they'll give you a 1-year reprieve. He calls himself the savior of house.
But you see, even if they had offered that, we would have paid it.
Right.
But they said, no, we're just having too much fun. Okay, they had fun making us miserable. We actually lost a couple of players because we couldn't play Space Dock.
Right.
These were noobs. They don't know how to do this. Okay, the whole point of high sec is supposed to be you're safe. The war deck system is broke, okay?
Right.
You shouldn't be able to war deck another corporation without a mutual agreement of a war deck or be in low sec. Those two would be fine. But they made it where there doesn't have to be a mutual agreement. These two players have been playing since day one. They had just infinite resources compared to us to use. They had mad skills and experience compared. I was the only one that had played for more than like a week at this point. And I was the only one that could stand up to him and fight. And even I was getting my ass kicked. So there was no, Eve's a good game. Eve potentially is a great game. I think, though, that what drives a lot of players to it is what keeps a lot of players from staying with it.
Yeah. The PvP is the nature. I know I play Eve.
I don't mind PvP. I don't mind PvP, but I don't believe there should be a system in place for experienced players
to beat the
crap out of little guys just to pad their numbers on a kill board.
Right.
And the fact that it rewards that behavior in game turned me off.
And I've been rewarded a lot of players since I started back on Eve.
Next up.
Where do you see PC gaming in 5 years' time, 10 years' time?
I don't know, but I'll be doing it.
I'm just hoping I'm going to be around. My little mall can fit the mouth.
He's going to be dancing more.
In 10 years' time, Ed actually believes that he'll have his consciousness uploaded, so it won't matter.
Yeah, I've told everyone. There was a great article about that. I'm not going to get into that. I want to answer the question.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to not get off the rails.
Right.
Stop it. You normally keep me on the rails. I don't want you.
It's like this all the time.
It is. I really am. I'm like this all the time. I'm like this at home with my wife, which sometimes is endearing, but most of the time is not. So anyways. Okay, 5-10 years time. I think the push, I think the push, we're going to get a little closer first. I think the push for 4K is in trouble. The reason why I say that is this. 4K monitors at 28 inches are crap to work with. If you've got to zoom in so much for anything besides gaming, that you lose all the advantage of the real estate. To me, the much more exciting monitors are the 1440 ultra wides. That's much more exciting because that ultra wide experience is a more immersive experience.
Yes.
And it gives you kind of the feel of an Infinity setup without the need for an Infinity setup. You get that wider view. And these, by the way, are being done in 32 and 34 inches. So you're not squinting to be able to read the spread. Put a spreadsheet up on a 28-inch 4K, and trust me, it's not your palms getting hairy that'll make you blind. It's looking at that. Okay, I can talk this way. We're not FCC regulated. You can talk. So
he's trying to keep you on the rail.
Anyway, I don't see 4K taking off. I see this other approach taking off. FreeSync and G-Sync. G-Sync's in trouble. The reason why it's in trouble is by the end of the year 2015, in excess of 20 models of FreeSync monitors are going to be available.
Right.
None of them have a cost premium to be available. And Samsung has publicly declared every 4K display they do, including TVs, are going to be FreeSync enabled. NVIDIA's proprietary technology is now in trouble.
Good Lord.
Okay, so the good news is NVIDIA has to. If they don't develop a FreeSync driver, they're stupid. Why would you not develop for an open standard?
Right.
All right, if they don't, that's basically saying you spend your money with us or go away. That's a PR mess for them.
Right.
So I'm excited about that. As far as gaming itself, I feel like, Doug, correct me if I'm wrong, you do need to speak up for this one, okay?
Fine.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't take you out back and whoop you.
Whooping's next on the street.
Okay, yeah, you got. He just got me off the rails again.
That's in a private chat room.
We're doing a show.
We accept Visa, MasterCard, and American Express.
We're doing a radio show. We're doing the radio show. And I had, for like 6 weeks, every week, beat the crap out of Apple on the show. Just beat the crap out of Apple. And Doug looked at me and he said, you know what, you've picked on Apple enough. It's time to leave the poor guys alone. Okay, seriously, leave them alone. And I promised my listenership that I would not pick on Apple for the next 4 weeks. For the next 4 weeks. And the next week we come in, and sure enough, there is an Apple story from hell.
Oh.
And I can't pass it up. I'm dying here. So I asked Doug on the air, this is live radio, I asked Doug on the air, I said, can I please do this story? Please. And so we asked the listeners if they would allow me to do it. And the consensus was yes, but only if I got whipped on the air. So now, remember this is radio, and Doug's not putting his hand on my butt. That ain't happening. I love him.
He wasn't the only one that said no.
I love my brother, but he ain't putting his hand on my butt. So it was great. He took the mic and he pulled it down. He was in a pair of shorts. And he pulled the mic down next to his thigh, and he started smacking his thigh. I started screaming and yelling over the mic. And we had listeners right in going, oh my God, you're actually doing it.
Magic of radio.
Imagination theater.
Okay, so anyway though, gaming itself, there is beginning to feel like a trend backwards in some of the gaming concepts. You take a game like Dragon Age Inquisition, you take a game like Divinity, Original Sin. These throw back to some of the earlier RPG elements that were exciting to us when they first came out, that were really exceptional. You look, Richard Garriott is getting back to his roots and doing an RPG that has a couple of neat features going forward, but most of it is about going back to what made gaming fun in the first place.
Right.
And we're seeing some of that cookie cutter design disappear. And we're seeing these old elements begin to get renewed. So I feel like there's a retro movement beginning to happen where we're not about the amazing technology in the game. Now, I'm not saying we're dismissing technology, but instead of the focus of the game being the technology, the focus of the game now is the game. And so I'm excited where I see PC gaming going in 10 years. I hope to see consoles dead in 10 years. That won't happen. It won't happen. But you're going to see, I think you're going to see PC gaming. There's a resurgence already beginning. And I think in 10 years we're going to be looking back and we're going to be like in a golden year compared to where we are right now. And we're in a good place right now.
Oh, very good.
So
very
I'm
good.
excited about where PC gaming is heading over the next 5 to 10 years. I'm really excited.
You think some of it is just that we're starting to hit a cap in fidelity? I mean, we talked about it with cars, when like modeling a car. You model a Ferrari with 10 million polygons or 15. It starts, the Ferrari looks like a Ferrari, looks like a Ferrari.
Right. I think we hit a cap, but it's not just a cap in fidelity. Have you had access to one of the really high-end 1080p televisions with 120 hertz refresh rate and everything else?
I've seen them.
When you throw the best of the best image quality HD film up on it and you watch it, I've talked to a lot of people. It looks artificial. It looks kind of, something about it doesn't look right. And when I talked to an optometrist about this, the problem is it's too perfect. One of the things they try to get rid of in PC gaming is motion blur. But that's naturally the way your eye looks. You see in blur. You don't see frame rates. You see in blur.
Right.
I think we've reached the point where, and this is my personal opinion, not a Sapphire opinion, this is Ed's opinion. I think we've reached the point where we have gone past what the human eye is supposed to see, and we're trying so hard for this perfect image every time we see it. But that's not the way vision works. And so I think we've gone too far. We've taken technology to the point that it's too perfect.
Right.
And we need to back that up a little bit. And I'm not saying we need to back up the technology, but we can take the technology and apply it in other areas. Motion blur, that's good motion blur. Better color fidelity, so that we get true color across images. Eliminate lines. Okay, when I look at you, I don't see the lines of your head.
Right.
And we need to be able to take the technology in that direction. And that's not hardware, that's software. It's time for a new way of rendering. A new way of ray tracing is a great example. I'd love to see ray tracing really take off. It's a huge difference in image quality. But then you reach the other side of this. We talk about this a lot. I'm not a big fan of realistic graphics. When I go to play a game, I don't want to kill terrorists. I want to kill aliens. The reason why is I hear about terrorists enough on the news, I game to escape reality.
Right.
Okay? But it's more than that. Take a game like Borderlands 2,
Right.
which doesn't look anything close to real. Okay, nobody on the planet says this is real, all right? Yet it looks incredible because the graphics fit what the game was supposed to be.
Right.
And I think we need to get back to that. We need to get back to games that look like video games. They don't have to look bad to look like video games. There you go. That's a
They
good
don't have to
example.
look like this. I love Borderlands. You're speaking
yeah.
my language.
Yeah, I mean, Dragon Age Inquisition has some fairly realistic looking stuff, but then they've also got some very unrealistic looking stuff.
Right.
But it does, the art fits the game.
If you're an RPGer, it's about storyline and character depth.
It is.
When your NPCs are more than just NPCs, when they have a personality, when they have a history that you can relate to and are actually interested in. I've played a lot of games that had in-depth histories and storylines that were boring. Borderlands, as an example, is phenomenal. It's got great humor.
Amazing humor.
It's got amazing characters. I think they actually stepped back and had to write backstory for some characters that people fell in love with that they didn't realize at first they were going to fall in love with. You know, I've played everything except for I haven't started playing the newest,
The
one yet.
prequel.
Yeah, the prequel. But absolutely love Borderlands. You know, and that's what it takes is engaging story to get me involved. I'm an RPG. I'm too old to do Twitch killing anymore.
You know
get
what's-
me into a frag fest and I'm just wall paint.
and we've got the problem, though, that we've got media that doesn't really look at things anymore. For example, I raised the question, why was
Yeah, I saw
Plants
that.
vs. Zombie Garden Warfare not ever nominated for Game of the Year? This game is a blast if you've ever played it. It's fun for kids and for adults. And we talked about this in the interview I did. In a first-person shooter, you go play Counter-Strike or you go play Battlefield, and you're playing in the map and you're intense and the game's going great, and somebody snipes you in the back, and you start cussing and you're calling them noobs and you're slamming your fist on your keyboard and you're just mad as all get out, and your game experience is ruined for the rest of the night.
Yeah, I
Now,
saw you over
the
there. I
same
figured
thing
it's better,
happens
so I
in
thought I was
Garden
gonna jump in.
Warfare,
It got me too.
but in the kill shot, you see it was a sunflower that killed you. You can't get mad at a sunflower for shooting you.
Especially when you know that sunflower
start-
was an 8-year-old girl.
Yeah, you start laughing your butt off, and it's just a fun game. But yet it didn't get any nominations. Nobody pushed it forward and said, this needs to be a game we look at. This needs to be a game we're getting excited about. We've got too much effort is put into
I got a stinger now.
to an industry of media that's too focused on where their money is. For God's sakes, Alien Isolation won Game of the Year in a few places. Have you played Alien Isolation?
Yes, I have.
It's hide and seek. It's not even a fun hide and seek. Okay, and the horror of it, what made the game good was they finally, for the first time ever, somebody captured the original Aliens movie in a video game.
Exactly.
But that doesn't make a fun game. It makes a fun movie, but
Right.
not a fun game. And you can only be scared for so long before you stop being scared.
Right.
And you can only hide for so long before you don't want to hide. This game, it's a fun game. It's a neat game. It's got its moments. It is not Game of the Year material, and yet everybody made it Game of the Year.
And I think, just my opinion on that is I think that someone finally captured an alien after the long trail, and it's been a long and colorful trail of disappointment. Someone finally captured what Aliens is supposed to be,
Yeah,
even
and
more
it
so than
deserves
the movie.
credit for that, but that doesn't make a great video game. It just doesn't make a great video game. So that does concern me about PC gaming. There is a group, and it's mostly the media and the press, that seem to be, I don't want to use the word bought off, but they seem to worry. Okay, he says use bought off. They worry about. They are more interested in games that make big money than games that are just good.
Right.
So next question. Let's see. Do you think fighting games will make it to a PC?
Like Street Fighter and Mortal
Okay,
Kombat.
they have. They are available on the PC. They suck. The PC is not, by its nature, designed for me and you to sit together in front of the screen and play a game together like that. It's not meant to do that. There were a couple of games that did this. There was a robot fighting game that did this really well back in the DOS days. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. There were a couple of games that did this, but in general, the PC is not meant to do that because most PCs don't have a 52-inch screen that you can sit on the couch with your buddy and fight at a game at.
Oh, we got a few here that are pretty big.
Yeah, they're pretty large.
Man, there are some here.
This is probably one of the areas that the console not only wins now, but I think will continue to win.
Right.
The nature of the gameplay is designed that it's better experienced that way. So I don't see those games really taking off on the PC. They're there. I just don't think that they deliver the same experience, and the game experience is what we're after at the end of the day. So that one's easy. Let's see what else we got here.
Heard of a game called Thrill Killer. So do you think it made a list? It's not made it on. Why do you think it is not made it on the list of retro games that are coming back?
I haven't heard of it.
Oh,
A game you haven't heard of?
Yeah, I know there are a few.
this game is truly a treat. It's gross. It's
Hang on, Elizabeth,
morbid.
I'm coming to join you, honey.
Ethel, it's the big one. I got to go look this one up. I got to go find it and play it.
I think you had a few more scroll off there, if I'm not mistaken.
Let's see.
Oh, good Lord. Okay.
Type it.
About to shed a tear, finally able to force higher AA and MSFS6. Please make it easier to force the settings in games.
Okay, well, first, you don't want to use the MSAA.
Why not?
MSAA sucks.
Really?
It's not efficient.
Tell
You
us
want to
how you
use
really feel.
SMAA.
That's
SMAA is a better algorithm. It is less impacting on a system. Okay, Dragon Age Inquisition, I'm going to use this for an example. It amazed me what they did. So you turn on Ultra. Now what Ultra does is it takes tessellation and throws it to high. It turns on it's HBAO, and then it turns on MSAA at maximum levels at 2 times. Now, you take those 3 features alone, turn them off or down. You turn off MSAA, I believe the post-processing uses, or MSAA, I believe the post-processing uses SMAA. So you get anti-aliasing anyway. You turn off HBAOO,
right.
and you go to SBAOO. And then you turn off, or you turn tessellation down below. Those 3 things have minimal impact on the image quality, and you jump 25% in performance.
So even in your answer, it goes back to what you were talking about with the Sapphire, because it's all about the performance.
It's all about getting the experience where you want it to get. Those features sound really cool, but at the end of the day, a lot of those features are just meant to look really cool. That particular form of anti-aliasing is mostly geared toward NVIDIA cards.
Right.
And it's kind of optimized in that direction. But it's not really even a matter of that. There are a number of videos online where they've looked at MSAA versus SMAA. And again, I'll refer you back to Tech Syndicate. Logan had a field day on it, one video, just went nuts about this. Why don't we use this other that delivers almost exactly the same image quality with 1/10 of the performance hit? So I'm sorry. Let's see. Very controversial game due to the violence. Okay.
Oculus Rift, what's your take on that?
Okay, we actually just had this discussion. Oculus Rift is a concept technology think of the concept cars that you're seeing up at the car show right now. They look really cool. They're never going to go into mass production. They're not going to be in 1 million homes. It's not going to happen. That's Oculus Rift. Oculus Rift is 2 to 3 generations away from being a proper consumer level product.
Think it's that far?
I think it's that far. The technology still has room to work, and it's not just the technology, the programming has to come with it. There has to be a change in a lot of other factors to really make this useful. Okay, Oculus Rift by itself, just visually, really cool idea. If you don't add an audio component, completely defeated the whole purpose. You've got to have the audio move with your head. You've got to have the audio in 3D around your head while you do it. You've got to have the totally encompassing experience. The problem you're going to have is it's not going to, Oculus and its style is not going to become consumer fully functional until so long in the future that we're going to have new technology coming up. Right. Xbox is already showing full body controllers. Okay? Now you take that full body controller and you just move it forward slightly into a mild holographic display, not something like the holodeck where you can touch it, but a mild holographic display with surround sound speakers, and suddenly you've got a much more immersive experience. And the technology to do that at a reasonable price already exists today. It just needs to be done. It just needs somebody to step up and do it and figure out how to make it happen in a mass market and how to get the programming in place. When that happens, Oculus, the whole thing in your face, suddenly disappears.
Right.
Oculus is the stepping stone for what's going to come.
We see this
it's
a
not
lot.
the final product.
We see this a lot. If you think back 20 years, how many times have we seen X be touted as the technology, the product? Oh, watch this. And by the time it reaches, it fizzles over time because it branches off, and there are offshoots that it inspired. Not taking anything away from product X, but now Y and Z have branched off a few years later, and they're the ones that catch fire, and they're the ones that fulfill the promise that X started. X kind of just disappears a few years later because Y and Z have taken off.
So you're going to see the same thing there. And I like this next question. Where's the indie scene going? Indie scene is the future of PC gaming. Now, what I mean by that is this. I had a really good friend of mine who is a major, I'm going to leave his name out of it because I don't want him to get in trouble because he now works for another company. Right. He is a major game developer, award-winning game developer, and some of my favorite games he developed. And he and I were talking about how publishers work in the gaming industry. And it used to be publishers played an important role. Now all they are is a bank. A game developer goes to a publisher and says, I want to produce this game. It's investment banking. The publisher says, I like the concept of your game. Here's $5 million or $100 million or whatever. You go produce the game. Here's your deadline. Get the game done. Your loan is now called in. We're going to get back our money because we're going to sell the game and we get to keep the profits. They're an investment bank. That's all they are.
Right.
Indie gaming, the concept of indie gaming, the concept of crowdfunding, when correctly done, allows a developer to fully develop their game on their timetable with the consumers being the ones who decide success or failure, not the amount of marketing in the campaign.
Okay.
And it's a future that we're going to see. I think we're already seeing this with music. We already seen Weird Al has pretty much told record labels to go away. I'm going to distribute music by myself. We're going to see game developers begin to do this. What they've got to do first is they've got to get money in their banks. Once they've got money in the banks, you're going to see a game development company, and you're seeing some now, okay? Richard Garriott with his group that's doing at the Shroud of the Avatar, I can't remember which. He's doing this without a publisher. You're going to see these companies say, we're going to develop this game, this is what we're going to do, and we're not going to have a publishing house, and then we're going to distribute it online ourselves. The result of this can be a lower cost game, and quicker to consumers and quicker to needs and better support. The other advantage is indie games are about fun. Look at games like Kerbal Space Program, like Faster Than Light, like Defense Grid. And there are just tons of others. The guys that did Pixel Piracy.
Right. Oh my God. I love
Okay,
that game.
Pixel Piracy. I know the kid that was one of the developers.
Right.
When it went on sale and exploded, they freaked out. They quit their jobs. They started making so much money, and it was a $2 game, for God's sake.
Unturned. 17-year-old kid. Absolutely. He didn't know what he had on his hand.
He did. This is a future for gaming because these games are about fun. Low budget, but fun. This is putting gaming back where it started. There is still a place for a high budget game, but a game that's just fun is going to always win because let's face it, if we can pay you walk around this LAN event, okay? You're walking around an event where people have some fairly powerful gaming PCs.
Right.
And most of the people with the really powerful gaming PCs, you don't see running these incredible super high def games. They're running Pixel Piracy, they're running FTL, they're running Quake, they're running old school games. And they're running these games because they're fun. And this is where gaming's got to get back to. It's got to get back to having fun. Indie games, that's future gaming.
Yeah. The key to what you said, I think, is you said in the very beginning, when properly done. It's going to be like anything else. There's going to be bad examples along the way. Look how excited we were whenever so many games started going free to play.
Free to play
We were
is
so
first.
excited. There are
And then
more
look what
bad
they've done to
examples
it.
of free to play
Right.
now
Look
than
what
there
they've
are
done
good
to it.
examples because so many of them simply become cash cows. I call them the cloak of the week store. Look what happened to my personal one to pick on is Lord of the Rings Online. You know, we stopped getting new content. God forbid we get any meaningful PvP development, but every week there's new hats, cloaks, saddles, and horses you can buy.
And we called them the Fluffy Bunny add-on.
Early access is
to
the
me,
new
and I'll call this one out. I don't care. This one ticked me off. MechWarrior Online gets into development, right? Doug and I are huge MechWarrior fans.
Yes.
The MechWarrior Vengeance community, I don't know if you knew about this. Vengeance had two different massive online communities. One was centered around the arena.
Right.
So you had like that world in MechWarrior where you had the arena. They had that. Another was centered on the mercenary groups and stuff, and combat, and actually salvaging mechs, and it was some beautiful amount of programming and front-end systems. So this gets announced, and we're both like, holy cow, big squishy robots coming back, here we go. I was all set to buy my flight stick system to pilot my mech correctly. I was all set to do this. And when they started development of the game, they said, Mech diehards, we're here for you.
Right.
The game came out and they started asking for money to help with the development. And both of us ponied up. Boy, the wallets came out and here's the cash. We're gonna play this game.
I had a son playing. I double ponied up.
We were hyped. We were set. And then we noticed something. They weren't producing anything new. The metagame, which was the part that should be the bomb for this, wasn't being produced or even tested yet.
Right.
But that's okay. We decided we were going to pull back and wait a little bit. Well, then they went to open beta. Open beta is a myth. Open beta in those kind of games is release. Because they tell you we're not going to reset. If you're not going to reset, it's a release. You're live. Cut the open beta crap, just acknowledge you're live.
Beta's just a fancy word to sugarcoat.
If you have the audacity to ask for $300 for a mech,
Yeah,
You're live. You're live.
And Christmas rolled around, and you remember what the first new content we got was? Christmas lights for our cockpits
And fuzzy dice.
bobbleheads.
And fuzzy dice.
Yeah.
son of a gun, you're right.
We
I
didn't
remember-
get. We
that was-
didn't
that was
get
the day
next.
I deleted my
We got
account.
this crap, so both of us killed the account. Now I had a little hope. I was a little hopeful that this was going to get better. This was going to get better. 6 months rolled by, nothing. Now neither one of us have spent a dime of all the stuff they gave that we got for the content for live release with our pre-order. Okay, I wrote the company. I said I'd like my money back. You've lied to me. You've conned me. You performed a bait and switch. We read the email on the air on the radio show. And the email said, I can't quote it, but to the effect it was, we do not believe catering to the MechWarrior community is the best way to do this game. So you bait and switched us to give us your money to do this,
Right.
but the game's not for us.
That's insane.
And that's happened with way too many games that this whole pre-bait or pre-order stuff, the whole free-to-play, a lot of this ends up happening. A great game gets turned into fluffy bunny material all around.
Right.
And it defeats the purpose of what should be a great game.
I have to agree with you on that because Mech Warrior, that's still a little bitty sore spot.
Oh, not little bitty
yeah.
sore. No. That's a giant hemorrhoid that every now and then flares up, and I've got to go kick somebody for it. Okay, 2 more questions, and we're going to go game.
Let's see.
Have I ever played City of Heroes? I'll do that fast. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. And when it first released, I thought it was amazing. Now, no, thank you. Next. Same thing with Champions Online.
Yeah.
Champions Online, in its early release, was a ton of fun. They've neutered this thing. Okay, they just cut the balls off this game. It used to be for free to play. You had like 20 options of templates.
Right.
Now you're getting like 5.
Are you serious?
It's kind of like what they did with Star Wars Online.
Oh, good.
Star Wars Online free to play is the biggest pile of smoking dung ever produced. They should be shot for doing this.
The fact that we gave up Empire
He
Divided
didn't actually
made
just
me-
endorse violence against anyone. That was a metaphor.
They should be shot in game. Pew, pew, pew,
The
pew.
fact that we gave up Empire Divided for what we have now
Yeah, is
makes
just-
me cry.
Yes. All right, so what else we got?
What do you think of H1Z1? And
I'm not going to touch that question. And the reason I'm not going to touch that question is while the FCC may not be watching what I say here,
Your mama is.
my mama might be, or my children might one day see this video. And while I can cuss like a sailor, doesn't mean I should.
Amen.
I'll be polite to all of you. I think that says it all. What else we got here? Wargaming.net is doing free-to-play better than most. But now I've got my gripes with them. World of Tanks was a fun game. I was having a blast playing it.
Right.
And then they said they're going to come out with the physics model. And I was kind of excited about the physics model. It became Mario Kart. A Tiger tank cannot jump a ravine. Okay, I don't even care. The smaller tanks can't jump a ravine.
Right.
All right? You got people driving around tanks. They're hitting little hills, and they're getting airtime in their tanks, okay? I know it's not meant to be a full simulator,
Right.
but they went from a decent level of simulation to gameplay to Mario Kart with tread. And it just, no. Okay, what else we got?
Hey,
What else we got?
you said 2 questions 3 questions ago.
One more.
One more, and then we got
One more question,
One more, make
guys.
it good, make it good.
Maybe we'll have time again tomorrow or something for another one of these.
Make it good.
Wait,
I'm still not sure we got all the old ones. Did
Anybody from the room got a question?
He said he had one.
you got a
Yes.
question, man?
I did a while ago. You were talking about Oculus Rift. Have you tried Gear VR yet from Samsung?
I have not tried the Gear VR yet. It's more refined. It looks more
I
refined.
tried it last week, and I can absolutely see myself going home, kicking back in the easy chair, putting that thing on, and watching a movie. It was amazing.
So
It's-
be honest, it takes porn to a whole new level.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you want to say that, right? And you talk about that like that's a joke. Porn speeds adoption of technology. There's
Or,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
no, I'm not
You're
going
right.
to disagree with you.
So when you have
when
that
it
kind of
comes to video,
experience, and the audio, by the way, was
but
great.
you see, that was the point. They added the audio. That's what Oculus is missing.
It works great. Now, you can't do everything with your hands. You can't do that kind of stuff. But I was ridiculous. I was.
You can't do anything with
I
your
was in a
hands.
library.
What's the point of porn if you can't do anything with your
You don't
hands?
actually
Welcome
get
to
tactile
live.
feedback. I mean, we're 20 years from
This
that,
has
but
been the brutal
for
introduction.
$249 plus a phone, you're talking about.
Hey, Vox, what
amazing
was your
technology.
comment, man?
Again,
What
like
was your
I said,
comment?
Product
fine, Dick.
X, you've got stuff branching off of that I think is going to fulfill
Wow.
the promise
Yeah,
of
there's
porn.
been a few
Hey, Vox, hey,
No,
Vox.
absolutely. I mean, you've always got a concept.
Finally
like
able
those
to
concept
force
cars
hire. That
you
was
mentioned.
earlier.
You talk about
Hey,
other
Vox,
things,
re-ask.
other kind of technologies.
Re-ask, Dave
I have
Vox.
to disagree. I think that stuff's going to be in our living rooms in a year.
Yeah.
If he's
I know my kids
listening,
are
he'll know to
in
react.
somebody's living room, whether it'll be.
And while we're waiting for this, we're busy having a background discussion on porn in 3D.
I know. This one's got to go in.
Best of 2014. Well, that's not AVOX. I'll do this one, though, while we're waiting. Best technology of 2014. We're going to do technology and software. SSDs are going to be my pick. Now, I know they're not new to 2014.
Right.
But we saw 50 cents a gig, and it's coming down lower. They're projecting by the end of 2015 it will be cheaper to buy SSDs per gig than spindle drives. SSDs are one of the most amazing upgrades you can do to a PC because it changes every aspect of the experience.
Yeah.
Everything becomes quicker. I cannot, my son and my wife, who are not really super gearheads,
Right.
if I took their SSD out and put the fastest spindle drive, if I put a Raptor in, they would still notice the difference.
Gotcha.
SSDs absolutely still to me the big technology of 2014. Game-wise, my game of the year, I'm sorry, is Garden Warfare. It's just so fun, I don't care.
I think it drags along the baggage of old EA, not new EA, old EA.
It does.
And that hurts it some.
Yeah, you know what? EA doesn't deserve the crap it gets. You know what? They're a better company to deal with than Steam. You can't get a refund from Steam when a game sucks.
Sim games,
Okay.
flight, racing, driving aren't going anywhere, and there are no place where the tech value plateaus there.
Well, no, now I'm going to disagree with him. There is a place where the tech value plateaus there. Simulations in the general consumer market have never been good money makers. And the reason why is they're very, very niche market. Now, I'm not against niche market. I think we should stop making games for everyone.
Right.
And you should have a targeted audience and do this. But simulations that target is even more narrow. For example, I enjoy a great submarine simulation as a submariner in the Navy. You can't find a great submarine simulation. There hasn't been one for what? 10 years.
Island.
Island Hunter. That's the last one, and it's not that good. You got to go back a little farther to find good ones.
Oh wow.
You don't have a growth market there. You don't have a market that you're going to be able to expand to. Racing games, we've already got such amazing racing games. Where do you go from here? You increase the realism. Well, you can't increase the realism too much more. It's a game, and by the time you add the extra cost, if you're not really giving new substance, okay, you're going to become the John Madden of games then, where it's a new game every year that we pay $50 for, but we don't really get anything new.
Right.
Racing simulations have begun to reach their plateau. I think the future of those, it's not that they're dead, but they're so niched market that you can't, I don't see a company dropping $100 million into developing one of these games.
Right.
It doesn't, it's never going to have the return. It just can't do it. Now that doesn't mean I don't appreciate them and love them. I love simulations.
Right.
But it's not a big enough market with the way PC gaming has gone, and I don't see PC gaming going back to it. It's not a big enough market that many companies are willing to invest in because it's so difficult to get the return out. I think we're plateauing because of economic concerns, not technological concerns.
Gotcha.
So there. Now, did we get everybody?
I think we got
Silent
everybody.
Service was awesome. Silent Service was just absolutely awesome. So was, it was a World War II German U-boat simulator. It was one of the first ones. And I can't think of the name of the company now. It's been that many years. I'm old. Somebody will think of it.
James? Was it a James?
Oh, no. It was, there was a sequel done in the Pacific.
Nova Logic?
I don't recall.
It's-
Aces of the Deep. There it is. Your audience rocks. Aces
Winner,
of the
winner,
Deep.
chicken dinner.
I tell you what we're going to do is for him. Okay, what's the name there? I can't see it. The green.
Amware?
Amware, are you in North America? We got to wait for the delay
Yeah,
here.
we got about a 20-second delay or longer.
Fox, you're welcome. I love doing this stuff. Come on, Amware, get with us. Are you in North America?
I bet if you talk louder, they can hear you.
Okay, Anwar, here's what we're going to do. You are going to send this really good man here your shipping information, and I'm going to send you a VaporX t-shirt like what Doug's wearing, and we've got these beanie sock caps. I'll send you one of those. So you send him the information so he can send it to me, and I'll take care of you.
Let's get out of here. If there's enough requests, we can come back and do one of these tomorrow. That gives them time to think of more questions.
As soon as you got his shipping information,
I will get
come
it
over,
out.
tell me, and I'll give you an email.
And we'll
address.
get that to my message box on Twitch as soon as possible.
It's good to see you all. See you all later.
I appreciate you, man.
No problem, brother.
Thank
Take
you.
it easy.
You take care.
All right.
Let's go play a game.
Game time.
It's game time.
Guys, y'all have been truly amazing. I appreciate all your questions, all your support. Y'all make this a joy.